All
All,
things. The ability to navigate the distractions is a high level executive function today, right? Because
yeah,
there's always something. It's like trying to walk a straight line in America, right? And I'm talking about from California to goddamn Maine. You just want to walk straight
right,
past. There's going to be a lot
right.
of things that impede your way, right? You can't just walk through a wall. You can't walk through traffic, right?
Right.
So to me, and I'm coming up with this analogy on trying to focus, you have all of these things built in your way to stop you from keeping that focus all the way through. But if
Mm,
you build a laser focus, right, then you can go above anything that's in your way to keep that exact path of thought operating. You know what I mean?
right. And I want to just add on that the fuel or what the engine or what the battery would be to keep that charge because it's a charge. If that charge dissipates, right, you can't move forward with that thought that you just dropped or with that mission if you all over the place, if you're not holding the charge. So the master, the one who would really complete that whole thing in a masterful way, was somebody who exercised supreme discipline, almost to the point of what a boxer has to do before he or she has to step into that ring to achieve their victory after what? After months of training, discipline, right? And focusedness on the motherfucking W. Because everything that we dealing with has an end game, and at that end, it's a W like the hotel.
That's a fact.
You
I
know?
think that's the harder part. So a person, you got to recognize where you are in life,
Right.
right? If you recognize where you are in life, right, and when you are in life, now you have the ability. Number one, let's say I was watching this movie about this Army Rangers, and the dude couldn't get rescued until he knew where he was.
Was that
You know what I'm saying?
Private Ryan?
It wasn't Saving Private Ryan. It was called 13 Hours, I believe.
Oh, okay.
You know, oh no, it was Lone Survivor. He was the only one that survived in his platoon. It was based on a true story. It was in Afghanistan getting
Mhm.
heads knocked off, right?
I gotta
But
check that out.
it was a cold movie because it was very graphic. But it was their goal was to try to figure out how to get these coordinates of where their location
Right.
was, so they could send help. And it don't matter what your goal is. It don't matter where you want to go. Until you know where you are, it was nothing he could do, right? And most people don't know where they are, right? Are you in a building phase? Are you in a phase of vision? Are you in a phase of execution?
Right.
Because sometimes you can be watching somebody they done the execution phase. They built themselves up with the knowledge and the resources. Now they ready to execute. And when you build a building, you don't start with the execution, right? No, we got a blueprint. We got to get the sites. We got to get the permits, contracts. We got to hire the workers. We got to
Right.
set up site management. We got to make sure we got the
Resources.
site. It's like there's different phases. But when you see somebody, you might look across the street and see somebody else in the execution phase where the building is on level 3. And you're like, man, I just want to get started. You're like, whoa, brother. You know what I'm saying? You skipping phases. You need to know where you
Right.
are. And then
Right.
else can help guide you to be like, wait a minute, you actually not in the execution phase. You in the vision phase. Spend time,
Mm.
taste test, spend time figuring out what the vision is before you go out and start putting in all of this energy, right? And then you might meet somebody be like, bro, you've been in the vision phase too long. You need to be in the development phase. You
Right.
need to start becoming the person that can bring the vision out. And once you get the knowledge and the know-how, then you got the people and the resources from the development, then start building. So it's knowing where you are, and then when you are is at when is the time that you in, right? It's like when can go above just you as a personal, but when in time are we as a whole? We are in, this is why it's important to identify when we are. We are in this age of knowledge, this age of AI, this age of information. It lets you know the opportunities. It lets you know the tools, the technologies. It lets you know the sentiments and the emotions of the people at that time, right? Because
Look,
at
we are
master,
in the creator economy, we are in the maker economy, and we in the digital, the golden age of the digital economy. Go ahead, please.
So when you can operate within that, saying, okay, this is when I am. Because if you was in the 1930s and you can go back and be like, all right, I just got a book on the 1930s. It tells me the overall sentiment of how people think, what they wear, what they like, right? The issues and problems that have just happened, what's
Right.
about. And now you know when you are. So now you can operate as a master in that
In
time.
that time. Right. Right. You have the advantage.
50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, there's all going to be different times up to 2023, right? So you have to then have this understanding of correlating the coordinates of time. So you have to know the space and the time that you're in so that you can be a master of space and time. So
Right.
this requires you to operate, and this is why all these movies are about what? Multiple.
Timeline and multiverses.
Because you have to operate in multiple verses, in multiple dimensions. Binary code is what's
Right.
being deleted. They trying to get people on this trinary basis where that's what the quantum machines are operating off, the ones and the zeros plus another number all at the same time to factor
Right.
unknown into the decision. So a lot of people probably didn't catch all of that, but the idea of it is that we now have more options to make more decisions. But if you don't understand the time that you in, right? Because you need to know whether, if you was in a goddamn coma, first thing you're gonna need to know is what year is it?
Right.
That's important. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
If you jumped in a time machine and somebody dropped you off, no, I need to know what year it is, especially as a black man. Did I go forward in time or backwards in time? If it's backwards in time, it's even more important. I need to know when we are. You feel me? Because
Right.
I don't want to be dropped off in goddamn 1800s. Nope, we are in the wrong time. Drop me off in the 2000s. You know
Right.
what I'm saying?
So
That would be a better time to be a black man to take advantage unless I have the knowledge of that time. But even having the knowledge of that time, you still not left up to the certain quality of life you can live in that time. What is the highest quality of life you can live in the time that you live in? This is the question.
exactly. And that is a direct correlation to what we're seeing taking place in the realm of entertainment, which is directly and solely responsible for shaping the realities of their subjects. And because hip hop is a global phenomenon in a global pop culture, the falling of what is known as the shiny suit theory or the bad boy era or what is known as the tunnel era, it developed, it actually built out, it terraformed the reality that we all exist in right there. He is a matrix architect,
Yeah.
right? He architected the matrix that we are a part of, him single-handedly along with others, but his hands, he's a major player. He's a major player. So in order for a new reality to come about, an old reality has to cease to exist. That is what you see in the falling of that reality. It's gone. Like there's no, maybe not. That shit is done. And a new reality will come up out of it, but you can't worship two masters at the same time. That reality was keeping us stuck in the timeline. I got a bar that I wrote. I said, Ma, we not seeing eye to eye. We not in the same timeline. I could tell by your eye line.
That's a super
Yeah.
fact.
And people are not in the same timeline. They in the same room, but they're in different timelines. So you got people that's on some stuck in history shit, and they looking at themselves through the eyes of Negroes in the South in the 60s. Or you got some people looking at you through the eyes of drug dealers from like the early 2000s. They think they Jeezy and they think they still in a trap. These little niggas think that they Meech and whatnot. Then you got people that's living in timelines of how they was lit when they was lit. Then you got people living in timelines of how they was on top of things before they came home after doing 25 and whatnot. The timelines is mixed. You could have a conversation with somebody within 5 minutes. You like, nigga, you not on my timeline.
That's a fact. I mean, we see that with older people. Older people be living in the past a lot.
We not on the same timeline. So it's like, I got to get on your timeline in order to even relate to you, my nigga. Like, I got to almost code switch. It's like the variants that you see in Loki with King the Conqueror and whatnot. So the reality that we live in right now, because we're in the quantum realm and timelines have converged on top of each other, all of the timelines have come together. So it's almost like a Marvel movie where like the 90s is here. Niggas is running out of the stores and whatnot. We were literally doing that in 1993 there was a whole posse called a Steam Team in Brooklyn coming out of Vanderveer and Flatbush, doing it to Kings Plaza in downtown Brooklyn. The same exact thing that they're doing right now, bro. So it just shows you that time is centrifugal. I'm not here to say cotton reparations is a right or wrong. I'm just saying that time is centrifugal and shit goes in cycles and whatnot. Don't go straight. So this whole idea of time that we even have a perception of is erroneous and is wrong. I like how you nailed it with space and time and being directly in your coordinates, because niggas is not in their coordinates. So I just want to say thank you for putting out higher level conversations and being able to broadcast to millions upon people to bring them up to the motherfucking timeline. It's been an effective strategy, because as I travel the timelines, I see that people are catching up.
That's a fact. And what you have to understand is there's always going to be agents of mischief. And if
it's always protagonist, antagonist. It's always ciphers in the Matrix. It's always Agent Smith when there's Neo.
Let me ask, how do you you've been at this for a long time. How have you throughout your time dealt with, misinformation on your name, disinformation, whatever it may be, the agents of mischief, you know what I'm saying, that have over time tried to take down Mr. You know what I'm saying, Phil Richfield.
I wrote them out the script. Once I realized who was the producer of the movie, I just wrote them out the script. But what they are and what they always will be is the protagonist and the antagonist. This is the hero's journey. I am the hero twin. So adversity is something that I actually encourage in order to grow and develop. Remember, in war is when man will advance to his highest self.
Why
you gotta have some type of, you gotta be able to test out your strength by having a right, the right enemy and whatnot, to basically test out who the fuck you say you are. So I welcomed all of that shit from the day we stepped on the scene up until today, and we still here and they're not. So that just goes to show the effectiveness of the Scorpion mind right here.
That was actually raw. That was raw. That was some bars. Cause it's like, taking it to like, agents and Neo. How could Neo couldn't improve shit unless he went through all them wars?
Right. But then I realized that all of that was inside of me, Keys. Yeah. Like these people that I thought was my enemy really wasn't. They were admirers. And it was really me the whole time.
Yeah, that's I've noticed that as well. When I listen in between lines, it's the people really wanting you to recognize them. You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
like,
man.
They like, can you at least recognize me? Can I get close to you? I want some sort of connection. I want, you know what I'm saying? But they really, in they talking shit, they really venerate you. It's really admiration, and you can tell because they speak of you in such high form. You know what I'm saying? But it's like this, it's when you grew up with too many mothers in the household, because so many fathers have been missing, they have the emotions of dealing with things like a woman would, right?
Yeah.
Bad thing, women supposed to deal with emotions like they are, and men are supposed to do it like we are for a reason. But what we see is they're not operating from a logical standpoint, they operate from an emotional. So they don't know. Earlier, I've never seen nobody ever come on and be truthful with themselves about like, the only reason I'm not making it is because this person works harder than me and smarter than me. I've never seen that ever, right? So that means that either you've never had that revelation about nobody in reality, you know what I'm saying? Or that is always in the shadow, and the envy and the jealousy takes over that as, the lower thought of why you're not somewhere you think you should be.
Well, first of all, in this trade-off that we signed up for, we signed up to be a part of this new digital era in cyberspace.
Yeah.
So the fact that people are witnessing you behind a glass, like Remember Minister Society with Purnell and he was behind the glass?
Yeah.
Remember General Zod and Superman 2 when he was stuck in the glass?
Yeah.
That's us behind these goddamn black mirrors right here, our phones. If a person is not in your auric field, if a person doesn't break bread with you, if a person doesn't see you eye to eye and actually feel you in your presence, then they'll never fully understand you. So the fact that they say they love you or hate you is not even relevant because they don't know you, right? This game that we just signed up for is gonna come with the enemies. It's gonna come with people are gonna hate your guts, bro, because it's almost borderline homoerotic. People are they want it. We live in what is known as the attention economy, and they want your gaze, bro. They want your male gaze. Another male is out here trying to get your attention to get your gaze because he really wants you to collapse his wave.
Damn, that sounded pause.
Right. I was involved in a hierarchy thing before when I was young. I was in what is known as a posse, and then I was in a gang and whatnot. So I know about hierarchy. We would do everything to get the attention of the big homie,
Yeah.
right? To be in the big homie's gaze and whatnot, to have a big homie acknowledge you, right? That's like, yo, that's the big homie. That shit will be a boost in confidence and morale. And we play the adversary, but at the same time, we really want to fight. We want to play on that person's team. You see it in the NBA all the time and the NFL, where people who appear to be adversaries, they really want to get on the same team and get a chip together. But because they're not on the team, it is something that you signed up to when you became a part, especially of this community. I don't even have a name for it, but this wave or whatever it is, this movement. Oh, nah, you put a fucking target on your back.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. That's why I like Yoda. Yoda was always the one. He'll just pop up when it's time to fight. Yoda was one of them masters, but he was never always in the spotlight. You know what I'm saying? I want to be like Yoda. I don't want to be like Luke.
Spotlight, Keys.
Huh?
The power is not in the light; it's in the dark.
That's what I'm saying, man. At this point,
Look. In entertainment, who's more powerful, the one in front of the camera or the team that's behind the camera?
Behind,
all right,
man.
All right. It's the one behind the curtain or it's the one on the stage.
That's why I'm looking for the next thought leaders, the next creators, you know what I'm saying, to be a part of high level studios. We want to push out the next level of talent, you know what I mean, that want to be in position and impact and believe that they have what it takes. That's what I want to work on. You know what I mean? It's a lot of young guys out there that's probably they doing some raw stuff. I don't even be knowing about everybody. I think that's another thing that people don't really have the bandwidth to understand is everybody don't know about you. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And then at the same time, a lot of people have the same thoughts. When and people be thinking that person must have seen what I said, or no, everybody ain't heard of you. You know what I'm saying? It's just y'all might happen to be thinking on the same frequency. You feel me? I'm one of those people that don't mind giving credit where credit is due because reading the book doesn't make you, like reading the book makes you a scholar. So giving credit to a reference of a source of information doesn't make you less of a scholar. You know what I mean? That's the one thing. People act like crediting people, it somehow takes away from their scholarship, and it don't. Like we got to learn everything from somewhere. It's only when you want to take when your value is taking credit for a piece of information that you didn't come up with or curate, you feel me? Then you become insecure about other people not seeing you as the person that had the genius to manufacture the idea. So therefore, you start taking from other people without giving credit. That to me is lame as hell. Like, nah, you got to be able to give credit where credit is due. That's the principles that I was taught on my whole entire life. You feel me? I ain't never lost no value by teaching people and giving reference, because I see scholars all the time. They always reference their work. They always reference where they get their information and their knowledge, because that validates their scholarship. You know what I mean? That they didn't just make it up, that they did get it from some root core source. You feel me? So giving credit where credit is due, I think, is key. And that's something that we have to learn in this chain of, leadership and his chain of sharing of ideas and his commerce of sharing of ideas. But anyway, I appreciate y'all for locking in. I think I'm trying to add Red Pill back on, but I think it might have been something that happened to his phone. You know what I'm saying? Uh, Boom, let me turn these questions off real quick. Turn off questions. There we go. Just get a clear camera for a minute. Make sure y'all go on the site. Make sure y'all go to Crowns. That's with a Z19.com. Go support the movement, support the brand. We just got the glasses in, so for all of those that really want to support, you feel me, and want to get the society frames, go ahead and snatch you a pair of the society frames. You feel me? Limited edition while supplies last. If you really rock with the brand, Gold Water. All our sites got sales right now, so click the link in the bio and you will see the sales. Make sure y'all tag me when y'all support and everything. I appreciate y'all. I love y'all. New high level conversation on the way. Mentorship program, future proof webinar on the way. Documentary 19 Keys TV. You know what I'm saying? Patreon, all of that good stuff coming. So make sure y'all lock in. Peace to the family.